Bartenders of Reddit. Has any male customer ever ordered the safe word drink at your bar? What happened and how did it go? I've never tended bar, but I've mouthed help to a bartender before. The older lady refused to take hints or stop touching me. It was beyond just physical contact. She was rubbing my thighs and whispering in my ear type of stuff. I was worried about physically stopping her for obvious reasons, and didn't want to run out on my tab. Working out of town and ate dinner in the bar. So big tab. Bartender actually distracted her and waved me out while mouthing, "Just go." I came back the next night to square up, and the new bartender said he heard all about it, and they put my food, drinks on the older lady's tab, so don't worry about it. Happened a lot actually. It's always some drunk cougar that won't leave anyone alone. Edit. Drunk handsy gay men can be pretty bad too. Got off work and decided to have a few drinks. This guy starts taking to me. No biggie. As the drinks pass, he starts touching my leg and leaning into me. I try to be as nice as possible about letting him know he's in my bubble. Eventually he says it loud enough for the other bartenders to hear. I want to hug your slong with my mouth. I make eye contact with the other bartender and they quickly remove him from the establishment. Apparently it was a common thing he did. I don't know why he wasn't barred, but anyone he came in after that I would refuse service. Safe word drinks rarely exist. Don't believe every till, just tell me you need help and I will help. I've never got that. I have this reputation of stone cold. I'm just a serious person and have some anxiety when talking to strangers. So when something is happening they would look at me with that help face. But that happened often. I have a tactic based in taking this creepy old guy who's at my bar like 12 hours a day and making him talk to the problematic person. Other time one old fluff was harassing a young girl and she looked at me saying help. Before I could do anything another girl just came in and literally dragged the old fluff out. What's the safe word drink? No story to tell here, but shocked by some of the comments the lads sharing here are getting. Yes, men can be sexually harassed and assaulted just like women. It's never okay. As a guy, I have never heard of a safe word drink. Reading some of these stories I wish I had known at least 2 times. One time I stopped her and was confronted by white knights for grabbing her wrist and stopping her from grabbing my cock. The other time I dealt with it until I managed to cold shoulder her out. No, but once a young woman came up to me and explained that she was there with a friend in a group of guys that she didn't know. She said that one of the guys was already bombed. We should stop serving him. And he kept trying to show another guy some pictures on his phone. I kept an eye on things and sure enough, dude needed to cut off. When I approached the table to deliver the news, the drunk guy was showing another dude some self-photos and I heard him tell the other guy, "And she's only 15 years old." I greeted the table and gave them the bad news. Dude was cut off. Everybody seemed cool with it except the drunk guy. As expected, he got upset, and after some arguing, his friends apologized and asked for the check. One of them would drive him home. They said, "Check hits the table." I see them all leave. When I go over to collect and clean up, I saw that drunk guy left his phone on the table. I told the other bartender not to seat the table, and I went into the office and called the police. On the off chance that the guy had CP on his phone, I didn't want to deal with it. The police usually got to the bar about 5 minutes after calling. When they hadn't shown up in about 15 minutes, I looked for them in the parking lot. It looked like they were arresting someone. One of the cops came into the bar a few minutes later and asked about the phone. I took him over to the table and asked what was going on in the parking lot. He said they found a drunk guy in the parking lot stumbling around. He said dude told them he was about to leave but had left his phone inside. They threw him in cuffs and sat him on the curb just to keep an eye on him while they came in to talk about the phone. Sure enough, it was the same dude. Cop takes the phone and I reiterate what had happened. The cops leave and take dude with Themis-Sear. A few weeks later, the officer comes back into the bar to follow up. Says that they arrested the guy and that dude had admitted to having questionable stuff on his phone. Victim. Here, I put it in quotations because I wasn't necessarily assaulted or anything. I'm 33 per meters now, but I was 22 at the time. I knew nothing about safeword drinks at the time. I was young, in a bar, having a good time. One of the guys I was partying with said some woman told him I looked scrumptious. Okay, I'm not an ugly guy, but I wasn't feeling it. Told him as much, and, at risk of seeming shallow, once I saw the woman I was not even remotely close to turned on. I get a little lit, standing off to the side nursing a drink when I'm suddenly dragged onto the dance floor. Play it cool, dance a song, try to slip away, get next to the bar and dragged off near the pool tables by the same woman. She weighed more than I did. I was 180 pounds at 6'1" at the time. The long and short of it is that I spent over an hour hiding from a woman at the bar only to have to beg a bouncer to help me get a cab and get out of the bar unseen. Every time I tried to leave, her friends would block the entrance. Couldn't even go out for a smoke. Bouncer snuck me out through the kitchen. Not a bartender. 80s nights and gay clubs. I used to go to bars that would have older music when I was but a boy, because I preferred the music to Soulja Boy. Supermaning gives you an idea of time frame. Groped endlessly, but there is one specific situation where hand signals, verbal and eventually pleading, were used to try and stop this rather drunk 40-ish-year-old lady. It started with a pinch on the butt, followed by a full grab. The pinch went unacknowledged deliberately, and the grab was responded to with a finger wag and head shake. Great, I think. Message received. Nope. I returned to dancing for a few minutes before receiving a reach around and full cup and squeeze of my junk. This is where I said, "I'm not interested. Please don't do that," firmly, and from the look on her face I thought finally I could boogie. Nope again. Finally she attempted to slide her head down my trousers at the front, doing so from behind me. So I grabbed her hand, then pleaded with her to stop. It was only after she had seen that I was genuinely shaken by it that she disengaged and left the dance floor. As to the gay clubs I mentioned, unsolicited grinding and talk of what I'd do to you if you were gay. We don't have one of those. I've got the number for DSVS though, if you need help. Also 911. Bartender here. Just last night, I saw a girl being aggressively hit on right in front of me, to which she was very obviously not interested in. I leaned over the bar and plainly said, "Hey buddy, cut the garbage. She's not into you." He responded with a kind of, "Hands up, I'm not doing anything wrong" kind of thing. I told him to leave her alone or he's gone. He apologized to me oddly and walked the opposite way. I have asked for an angel shot before at the bar. I was charging my phone behind the bar and an older creepy drunk guy kept hitting on me. I needed my phone, and to close out, and this dude wouldn't leave me alone even after I lied and told him I had a boyfriend. The bartender nodded, got me my phone, gave my tab, and then asked me to meet her at the end of the bar. I excused myself, went over there, and she brought me through the kitchen and let me out the back door into the alley. I called a cab and went home, and that was that. Later that weekend I heard that someone got roofied at that bar. Possibly by the same creepy guy. I take medications that interact with rofinol. As in, I could have been put into a coma if I had been roofied. That bartender could have saved my life. I left a nice Yelp review. Not a bartender or a bartender-related story. Sorry, but I remember seeing something in a police documentary about a man who was battered by his wife. Literally battered, leaving him bruised, cut in with broken bones. She used to beat him, then make him go to the shops. Knowing people in public would see what she had done to him was part of her game. One day she was beating him at home and he managed to contact the police in between sessions. The police arrived and she made him open the door. His battered, bruised body was her masterpiece. After all, the story was told by the policeman who knocked on the door. He said, "Is the person who did this inside?" The man just nodded, not able to speak by then. The police escorted him away and arrested his wife. Apparently it had been happening for so long he just thought it was normal to be beaten by your wife. I know a lot of domestic violence is targeted at women and it is totally disgraceful. But as others have said, don't forget that it can be targeted at men too. Whether it's a heterosexual or homosexual relationship, take care everyone.